Good evening and welcome to a meeting of the Chesapeake School Board. A printed agenda is available in the back of the room if you wish to follow the business items we'll be discussing this evening. Roll call, Dr. Smith.
Mr. Elijah Colon.
Here.
Ms. Malia Huddle. Here. Mr. John McCormick.
Here.
Mr. Norman Poole.
Here.
Dr. Amanda Quillen.
Here.
Mrs. Angie Swigert.
Here.
Mrs. Amanda Walker.
Here.
Mr. Mike Lamonia, Vice Chair.
Here.
Mrs. Kim Scott, Chair.
Here. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. Does the superintendent or any board member wish to add or delete an item from the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing to add to the agenda, but we will need a closed session as required to discuss student matters, real estate matters, and contractual matters.
I'll enter a motion for approval. Moved by Ms. Huddle. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We will now go into the closed portion of our meeting. I'll ask Vice Chair Lamonia to read the language to take us into closed session.
Chair Scott, I move that the board should convene in closed session pursuant to the Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711, subsections A2, A3, and A29, for discussion and consideration of student disciplinary matters, real estate matters involving the disposition of a publicly held real property, and contractual matters for legal services.
Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Swigert. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We are now in closed session. Vice Chair Lamonia, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Chair Scott, I move that the record show that the only items discussed in the closed meeting were those specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McCormick. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith?
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
There being no action items resulting from the closed session, we will move on to the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'd like to call upon Executive Pastor Eric Hammond from River Oak Church to provide tonight's invocation. Afterwards, I'll ask Elena McClellan, a fifth grade student from Grassfield Elementary School, to lead us in the pledge. Please stand as you are able.
Pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community and steward the responsibilities entrusted to this school board. Your word reminds us in 2 Chronicles that if your people humble themselves, pray, seek your face, and turn from wicked ways, they will hear from heaven and heal their land. We ask for that healing in our schools and in our families and in our nation. Lord, grant these board members wisdom as you promised in James, that if any lacks wisdom, he should ask God who gives generously. In a time of confusion and shifting values, anchor us in truth. Your word declares that woe comes to good that is called evil, and evil that is called good. Help us to uphold what is right, to protect the innocent, and to reject what undermines the moral foundation of our children. Father, strengthen these leaders to stand firm in the face of pressure and opposition. Give them courage to defend parental rights, to safeguard the well-being of every child, and to ensure that education reflects integrity, accountability, and a respect for your created order. When challenges arise, and they surely will, remind us to put the full armor of God on, so when the day of evil comes, we may stand our ground. May decisions made here be guided by conviction rather than convenience, by principle rather than popularity. We ask you bless the teachers, the administrators, the parents, and especially the students. Protect their minds and hearts. Raise up a generation that loves truth, pursues excellence, honors authority, and seeks what is good. May everything done here tonight be conducted with order, respect, and shared commitment to the flourishing of our community. We pray all this in the strong and faithful name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Elena and Pastor Hammond. What a powerful prayer. We so appreciate you being here tonight. I do have to brag about Elena. I learned from her mom that she is a horse vaulting champion, so she jumps off of horses, and she's a horse riding champion, and she's also a cheer champion, and she graced us with her presence tonight. We feel so honored that you're here tonight, Elena. Thank you so much, and thank you again, Pastor Hammond and Mrs. Otley from Grassfield Elementary. Next, under awards and recognitions, is School Board Appreciation Month. Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is part 2 of School Board Appreciation Month. As the month comes to a close, we couldn't let it go by without, again, thanking you for all that you do and expressing our sincere gratitude for your dedication and service. Each board member shows each and every day. Your commitment to our student, staff, and community does not go unnoticed. So this evening, like I said, round 2, we had some gifts for you last time. We have more for you tonight. You will find gifts at your places that were created by students in our welding program at the Chesapeake Career Center. Also, gift baskets from Hickory High School Student Council Association and artwork provided by Hickory High School art students. These items reflect not only the students' remarkable talents, but also their sincere appreciation for your leadership and steadfast support of public education. On behalf of our entire school community, thank you, thank you, thank you for your time, your service, and your unwavering commitment to the success of Chesapeake Public Schools. I hope you've had a great month. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton, and thank you to all of the wonderful individuals who provided our gifts. Look at these apples that were welded by our Career Center welding students, so wonderful. And these are the bowls. I don't know if you can see them. Oh gosh, I'm almost breaking things back here. But they look great. We just love all of our presents. We will now move on to the public hearings. Tonight we have 3 opportunities for public comment, which will occur in the following order. The first public hearing on the superintendent's proposed budgets, the first public hearing for the proposed rezoning for the new school at Culpeper Landing, and the hearing of citizens. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who have requested to speak under any of these opportunities this evening?
No, Madam Chair, we have no citizens signed up to speak under any of the opportunities.
We will move right along. We will now consider the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Lamonia. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Colon. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Dr. Smith?
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Moving on to the information agenda, the first item this evening is the monthly financial report. Mrs. Glad.
Thank you, Chair Scott. We have included financial projections for January 2026 in the board documents for tonight's meeting. Both revenue and projected expenditures fall within the expected ranges for the month. Total realized revenue for this period is approximately $57 million. This includes around $31 million from the state, about $25 million from the city, and the remaining funds from other local sources and the federal government. Turning to expenditures, the total projected January expenditures are about $52 million. When we include encumbrances, the total projection rises to $90 million. As for enrollment, no improvements were seen in January. We are maintaining our December ADM projection of 39,347, which is 553 fewer than originally planned. With that said, March enrollment is likely to be lower than the December projection given recent trends. As previously shared, reduced enrollment means we will receive less state revenue than planned. Year-to-date non-personnel expenditure savings and vacancy savings are offsetting the expected decline in planned revenue, but we continue to closely monitor both expenditures and enrollments. March enrollment will be used to determine final state revenue, and spending will be curtailed from the plan if necessary to ensure that expenditures do not exceed either appropriated or actual revenue. I also want to provide an update on the outstanding UKG project requirement. The ability to upload a personnel expenditure file that includes required state coding and liability accruals to PeopleSoft, which is our financial system, from UKG, our human capital management system. I'm happy to share that formal engagement between UKG and finance started last week and will continue over the next several weeks. Once the work is complete, the Finance Division will begin working on journal entries to transfer data from UKG to PeopleSoft. Please be aware that this will take some time, but it is currently anticipated to be completed before the end of the fiscal year. Once the upload is complete, we will issue the comprehensive financial reports for each month starting with July. Before concluding my report tonight, I would like to provide an update on yesterday's Budget Sunday. This is when the Commonwealth's House Appropriations Committee and Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee present the respective amendments to Governor Youngkin's budget that was presented in December. On the slide projected, we have compared the House and Senate's proposed amendments to Governor Youngkin's budget. Starting with the House has proposed a $1,500 bonus for funded SOQ instructional and support positions effective June 1st, with the flexibility to distribute the bonus in fiscal year 2027. School divisions have discretion to determine the amount of bonuses per employee to maximize the use of these funds. Additionally, the House's amendments include one-time flexible funding to address unique local needs, supplement federal funding, support academic, physical, and mental health initiatives, and supplement operating and infrastructure funding. This flexible funding would allocate at least $13 million more to Chesapeake Public Schools. Furthermore, the House proposes expanding the at-risk add-on to cover students' physical and mental health needs. It also seeks to authorize localities to implement a 1% sales tax specifically for school construction. Turning to the Senate's proposed amendments, the Senate proposes the $1,500 bonus like the House, but also adjusts the compensation adjustment to 3%. Additionally, the Senate proposes additional funding for the special education add-on and at-risk student programs. The Senate also aims to authorize localities to implement a 1% sales tax dedicated to school construction projects. Furthermore, the Senate is proposing to allocate funds to review the JLARC's K-12 funding formula recommendation and to bring forward workable solutions, including a contract to facilitate the development of a new formula. As for timelines, March 4th is the deadline for each chamber to act on budget and revenue bills from the other chamber. March 9th is the deadline for committee action on all legislation, and finally, the General Assembly session will adjourn on Saturday, March 14th. We will continue to keep the board updated on the General Assembly's proposed bills and their impact on Chesapeake. This concludes my financial report and General Assembly update for this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glad. Mr. McCormick?
Ms. Cloud, I've got a quick question about the sales tax. Would that give the authority to City Council or the school board to assess that tax?
It would be the City Council.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I don't see any more questions. We're going to move on. The next item is the proposed revisions to school board policy. Dr. Austin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. As part of our ongoing process for reviewing school board policy and just looking at our daily operations, as well as in consultation with our legal counsel, we're putting forth a recommendation to change school board policy 811, which deals with employment, health examinations, and communicable disease. Specifically, we're looking at mandated exams and also being more defined in what we look for with the fitness for duty requirements that we set forth for staff. More details are available online. This will be something that will be in consent agenda next month. We'd be glad to address any questions that you have, but we also are putting forth 3 changes to regulations. And these 3 changes are, of course, one ties back to this policy, the related regulation, as well as 804, which deals with general personnel matters, just defining a couple of things related to days versus calendar days, and that helps us be more clear in communications from HR. as well as days like today when we have 2-hour delays in policy, in Regulation 822 is defining administrative override hours when we compensate individuals for events that necessarily they don't control, like weather. So those are the policies that we're putting forth. Be glad to address any questions.
I don't see any questions. Thank you, Dr. Austin. The last item on the information agenda is an update regarding the proposed plan for the establishment of new attendance zones for the new elementary school in the Culpeper Landing subdivision. Ms. Stutz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The initial presentation for the establishment of the tenant zones for the new elementary school in Culpeper Landing was presented at the January 23rd meeting. Tonight, Dr. Martinez will provide an overview, and he'll also highlight the responses from the survey that was put out to the community. Pedro?
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we are presenting our second update on the attendance rezoning required to open the new elementary school at Culpeper Landing, scheduled to open in fall 2027. This plan is a comprehensive effort to address severe overcrowding at Cedar Road, Deep Creek Central, and Grassfield elementary schools. Tonight's presentation provides a roadmap for the proposed 2027 attendance zone changes, beginning with the strategic scope and the data-driven need to address severe overcrowding at schools such as Deep Creek Central and Grassfield. We will review the guiding criteria and provide an overview of the 4 proposed options. This presentation will also clarify our capacity methodology through sample scenarios that address survey concerns about portable usage, provide a synopsis of our community survey, outline the implementation timeline, and present interactive resources available to the community. To give context, the rezoning aims to prepare for the new elementary schools opening in fall 2027. We are primarily focused on alleviating severe overcrowding at the 4 schools shown on the slide. Our ultimate objective is to incorporate the new elementary school in a way that promotes long-term enrollment stability in the affected area. Additionally, it is important to note that this rezoning will not affect middle or high school attendance zones. These zones will remain unchanged. Initially, planning focused only on the immediate Deep Creek and Grassfield areas. However, data showed that meaningful relief for Cedar Road Elementary was not feasible without including the Great Bridge zone. Expanding the scope allows us to leverage available space in Great Bridge to maximize relief across all impacted schools. As of October 2025, Cedar Road Elementary was at 123% capacity, Deep Creek Central at 159%, Deep Creek Elementary at 115%, and Grassfield Elementary at 145%. These 4 schools rely on 59 instructional portables. One of our main goals is to significantly reduce the number of instructional portables across all 4 schools. 5 principles guided our planning. First, maximizing the reduction of portables. Second, balancing enrollment with building capacity. Third, ensuring transportation efficiency. Fourth, planning for long-term growth. And fifth, preserving neighborhood integrity whenever possible. All 4 options were shaped by 2 factors. First, residential growth is concentrated in the Grassfield and Cedar Road zones, so these schools will face enrollment pressure regardless of the option selected. Second, the Transportation Department noted that each option presents unique logistical hurdles related to neighborhood alignment and traffic patterns. The 4 attendance zone options are summarized here on this slide. Options 2 and 3 build upon option 1. The yellow highlighting on the maps indicates the specific boundary changes relative to option 1. It is important to note that option 4 is unique in that it only impacts the Deep Creek and Grassfield zones, leaving Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate unaffected. Detailed close-up maps for each school were provided during our first presentation on January 26, the link to which is included on the school planning website. This comparison shows the impact of each plan. In option 1, we see significant relief at Grassfield, dropping to 85%, but Cedar Road remains at 101%, which doesn't fully resolve its overcrowding. Options 2 and 3 are the only plans that bring every school in the study under 100% capacity. In option 4, where we exclude Great Bridge Primary and Intermediate schools from the rezoning, Deep Creek Central is still at 112% capacity, so we would not be able to achieve our primary goal of eliminating overcrowding at that site. Option 3, highlighted in yellow, is the recommended option. A common question that has surfaced in our community feedback, and one that was notably shared by one of our school board members, Mr. McCormick, during our initial presentation on January 26, concerns the continued use of portable classrooms at some schools, even though the capacity utilization summary indicates the projected capacity will be below 100% after rezoning. The next two slides address this directly by illustrating the primary reasons a school may require portables despite not operating at full official capacity, using two typical scenarios to clarify how building usage and student-to-teacher ratios impact our facilities. School capacity is a formal calculation that represents the number of students a building's permanent structure is designed to accommodate. This figure is updated annually based on current classroom use and the school division's established student-to-teacher ratios. It is important to note that instructional portables are not counted in a school's permanent capacity as they are considered temporary structures. Consequently, the student-to-teacher ratio directly influences the capacity calculation, as will be shown in the upcoming examples. We will clarify this by first considering a scenario involving two schools, both serving students in 3rd and 4th grade. School A, which was constructed in 2025, has an estimated capacity of 110 students. This number is derived from the designated programs for each classroom and their corresponding capacities. Please note that the capacity program numbers used here are close approximations and have been adjusted for ease of combination in this example. They may not exactly match our official figures. Also note that the Occupational and Physical Therapy Classroom, or OTPT, is a necessary service space but does not have a capacity assigned to it. It is a resource room and students are not assigned there for the full day. School B on the right was built in 1985 with a calculated program capacity of 85 students. In general, newer schools have additional spaces or rooms built in to accommodate specialized programs that students may need. Let us now assume that School A has 81 students enrolled, distributed by classroom as shown on the screen. Based on the student count and capacity, School A will be at 74% of student capacity. If we apply the same student distribution of 81 students to School B, which has fewer classrooms, we would need 2 portables for proper accommodation. You can see that no capacity was assigned to the portable classrooms because they are not part of the permanent building. School B students will then be distributed as shown with a capacity of 95%. This example illustrates that capacity refers solely to the permanent building structure. Even if rezoning reduces a school's enrollment to 95%, portables may still be required for specialized programs that require lower student-to-teacher ratios. In example 2, we analyze how grade level distributions can give the impression that a school is more full than its capacity indicates. Both School A and School B show an estimated capacity of 100 students. School A has 90 students distributed as shown for a 90% capacity. School B has the same number of students. 55 are in 3rd grade and 35 are in 4th grade. Because there are 55 students in 3rd grade and the maximum combined capacity of the 2 3rd grade classrooms in the building is 50, we will need 1 portable classroom to accommodate the additional 3rd grade class. The 90 students are distributed as shown, and the capacity utilization is still 90%, similar to School A. While a building might technically have a 100-student capacity, if one grade level has more students enrolled than the corresponding classrooms can accommodate, the school can reach a functional limit much more quickly. While these are 2 of the most common reasons why schools under capacity might still need a portable, they are not the only ones. Every school is unique, and other factors may also contribute to the necessity of portable classrooms. As shared previously, the staff recommended option is number 3. Reviewing the advantages of option 3, we project that all schools will start operating at less than 100% capacity. This option also eliminates roughly 39 portable classrooms, leaving only 20 remaining. Furthermore, it establishes a sufficient growth buffer for Cedar Road Elementary to manage future enrollment increases. Finally, our transportation department considers this the least challenging option to implement. This slide outlines some drawbacks of option 3. To provide further relief for the overcrowding at Cedar Road Elementary, we are proposing to reassign students from the Cardinal Meadows neighborhood and Tattersall Apartments to Grassfield Elementary. This reassignment is necessary despite the closer proximity of these neighborhoods to Cedar Road Elementary. Another potential drawback is the need for a portable classroom at Great Bridge Primary, which will depend on future enrollment. Additionally, while Grassfield Elementary School will immediately benefit from the relief, its resulting 96% capacity limits its ability to absorb future student enrollment growth from already approved residential developments. Should Grassfield Elementary require future relief, an expansion at Deep Creek Central Elementary is a possibility, as a planned modernization for that school is already included in our capital improvement plan. Our community survey garnered significant participation with 1,222 responses. We've also seen substantial engagement with our online resources. The new elementary school webpage has been visited approximately 7,200 times as of this morning, and 5,900 of those visitors accessed the online GIS story map. The survey participation breakdown shows that 87% of respondents were either parents or both parents and employees. The remaining respondents were comprised of employees and general community members. This slide displays the survey response rates by school. It shows that participants from all schools took part, with higher percentages from Cedar Road and Grassfield Elementary. Option 3 was the most favored choice among all survey participants, as illustrated here, with 37% of respondents selecting it. The second most popular was option 1, chosen by 23% of respondents. Among parents, option 3 remained the most preferred, with 36% of respondents choosing it. The second most popular was option 1, selected by 24%. Employees who participated also predominantly favored option 3, with 45% selecting it. The next most popular choice was option 2, chosen by 21%. Based on survey feedback, our analysis identified 6 core concerns. First, the Deep Creek Bridge remains a major logistical barrier, with families worried about significant travel delays. Second, many residents view their school zone as a property investment and fear that rezoning will harm home values and disrupt community identity. Third, families are asking for stability for 5th graders to avoid social disruption during their final year of elementary school. Fourth, there is a strong consensus to remove portables to improve student safety and classroom health. Fifth, there is a clear demand for the city to better align residential growth with necessary road and school improvements. Lastly, for students with special needs, parents worry that moving schools will break established bonds with teachers and therapists, risking developmental setbacks from the loss of stability. This slide outlines our implementation plan. The new attendance zone takes effect in September 2027, so current 4th and 5th graders will not be impacted. To ensure immediate relief for overcrowded schools and optimize building capacity from day one, we recommend implementing the new zones for all younger students without grandfathering. Here is our calendar. We recently hosted our open house on February 11th at Hugo Owens Middle School. Approximately 35 community members attended, and their feedback largely mirrored the results of our recent survey. I would like to thank School Board Chair, Mrs. Kim Scott, along with the administrative officers and staff who attended and helped address the public's questions. Moving forward, we have a final public hearing and work session scheduled for March 23rd, where we anticipate final board action. As noted earlier, once the new attendance zones are approved, they will take effect in September 2027. Please note that the Department of Communications will upload tonight's presentation to the new elementary school website tomorrow. Additionally, they will send follow-up messages to parents and staff of the affected schools, which will include a link to the presentation and details about the next steps by tomorrow afternoon. A reminder that all Culpeper rezoning details are available on our attendance rezoning webpage at cpschools.com/planning. This includes the online GIS story map and an interactive address lookup tool, allowing you to view the assigned school for each of the 4 options. We have now concluded our presentation and are ready to answer any questions the board may have.
Mr. McCormick?
First of all, I want to say thank you for addressing my questions from last meeting. That was really helpful for me to understand kind of why you could be under capacity, but have to utilize portables. So I appreciate that. A few follow-up questions that I had. Is Grassfield and Cedar Road, those schools, going to be the most impacted by potential future development out of all of these?
Residential developments? Yes. Yes, that is correct.
Do you know if this approximate split of potential new developments in one versus the other, or is it pretty balanced?
Well, it depends on depends on the option selected. Option 1, where the percentage-wise, if you include all the approved residential developments, it's approximately the same across the first 3 options, but they vary slightly because of the movement of students from one option to another one.
Is it possible, or any of the new developments in proximity where they could be carved out to one school versus the other now, so as to allocate a entire future development into, a specific school that might have better capacity availability?
So you're saying now with including the new elementary school?
Yeah, I guess, for example, if there's new development, let's say, that would currently be, however this is rezoned, in Cedar Road, but Grassfield might have a larger space for capacity, is it possible to carve out that specific land plot for that future development to go to a different school than would be in some of these? I don't know if that makes sense, or...
So, I mean, so part of what we did from options 1, 2, and 3, we were able to move some residential developments from, we're proposing to move from residential developments from between Cedar Road and Grassfield, just to help provide more space at Cedar Road and shift them towards Grassfield Elementary. But currently, without the new elementary school, no such movement will help. I guess that answers your question.
Yeah, sort of. I guess the question would be, in looking at which land, are we looking at existing rooftops? Or are we looking at land that's still potentially to be developed and allocating that land to a specific school that might absorb it better?
Understand? So we're only looking at approved residential developments. We were not looking at potential land that may be developed in the future.
Mr. McCormick, I think I get what you're saying. I think you're saying if there's anything that's close to the line and hasn't started development yet, could we send it a different direction? I think that's what you're asking.
That's right.
Okay. Off the top of our head, we have a map where we have all the residential development. We'll go back and look at that. I don't think so. I think we've moved who we could that was on that line, but I don't want to tell you that we've 100% done that. So we'll go back and look at that and bring it back to you for the next meeting.
Because and I appreciate that, thank you. And my thought process is, if there is anything, because it's going to be likely between Cedar Road and Grassfield, and if it's going to cause, let's say, additional portables to be needed, because I think they're both going to be around the same capacity after this, depending on what option is chosen. Grassfield has a much better space to add portables than Cedar Road does in a safe manner, because there's plenty of land there. It can be hidden, it can be behind the school, whereas Cedar Road, it's a much smaller, envelope, and a lot of the portables are, in the parking lot or in the front of the school. So if you're going to say there's a potential land that could be developed 10 years from now, it would make more sense, in my opinion, to carve that out into Grassfield, just because it has the space to absorb it. Even in future redevelopment or additions, Grassfield has much more capacity there, land-wise, in order to build there. So I don't know if that's taken into consideration, or if we could take that into consideration, to set it up for down the road to be a better situation.
So we will review that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Weigert?
I just wanted to take a moment to, add some thought and clarity and appreciation for how something was addressed after the last meeting when these were presented. I personally had a lot of concern with option 3 in thinking that option 1 seemed like the better option because it afforded the most growth long range, at least on paper from what I was looking at, for the Grassfield Elementary. And I felt that if we know that's where the majority of the growth is probably happening, why wouldn't we choose something like option one, which had the lowest initial capacity projected for that school? And I think it's really important, Dr. Martinez brought this up, but I want to make sure to put an exclamation point on it because it did shift my thinking into leaning toward option three at this stage, because even though at the initial outset, option one would give more flexibility to Grassfield, the long range, and based on the numbers that they're looking at for development that's planned, it actually still goes over, and we're looking at that issue in Grassfield, no matter which of the four options we look at. And I think it's really important to note that the department, Ms. Stutz and Dr. Martinez's department already has plans in place and are looking at very long-range planning, which is something that is very much a trigger for me and a hot button to know that we are looking very far down the road, to know that we have a plan to address that in looking at what's going to happen with Deep Creek Central, and know that we can use what we already have in place there and the plans that are starting to percolate to address the future development that's going to happen in the Grassfield area. Because that's going to happen no matter which of these four options we pick. We are still going to be maxing out in that region, and to know that we are already looking ahead at what we can do at Central to plan for that is important, so that we don't get to these places where we're at 150% and beyond, and looking at more portable. So I appreciate the department looking at that from not only the initial and the medium range, but the very long range planning too. So it made me feel a lot better about option three, knowing that we still have more plans on how to address this long range with existing capacity and things that we can do. So I just wanted to put a footnote on that. Thank you.
Ms. Huddle?
Long range, we might also have the possibility, once we move Chesapeake Career Center, we'll have additional space available at the Cedar Road site, should that be needed that time frame down the road as well, correct?
So that's something we'll have to review, but currently Cedar Road, I mean, the capacity that it's already considered a big elementary school for the 125 students, so it probably wouldn't be feasible to add more classroom space to that school.
All right, and then I just was going to add a comment. I was very impressed with the open house that y'all hosted at Hugo Owens. For those who couldn't be there, they had about 4 or 5 displays set up, large, very easy to read and understand, and for families. And then you had ample staff there. Ms. Stutz had, I think, her whole department. There was Dr. Shirley, Dr. Joppy, Dr. Austin, Ms. Jones was there. I mean, every parent, every family that arrived was able to have really individualized attention and get all of their questions answered. And Pedro, I know that you spent significant time with one specific dad who came with a lot of questions, but that's what he was there to do, and you were there to answer them, and it was really great. I do want to highlight, the first mom I met that evening as she was leaving with her 3 adorable kids. I asked her, I said, well, which option do you like the best? And she was like, well, honestly, she's like, options 1, 2, and 3 have the same impact on me. I'm going to be switching elementary schools. And I could tell that she wasn't thrilled about it, but she was also very gracious. And I say that because I just want to make sure that families know that it's not lost on me, and I feel very confident speaking on behalf of the entire board, it's not lost on any of us that we have to make hard decisions, and that there's not a solution where everybody, 100% of those impacted, are going to be thrilled about the decision, and that's what makes it so hard. But I so appreciate their thoughtful input and their grace. But at the end of the day, we're tasked with coming up with a solution for overcrowding and excessive portables. And so I just commend your team for giving us the best options out there, and I commend the community for your understanding and for your vigilance and staying informed and involved. So thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Moving on to the action agenda, the only item is an opportunity from the VSBA. Dr. Smith.
Thank you very much. I would like to share the opportunity provided by the Virginia School Boards Association to attend the Spring Regional Networking Forum. It'll be held on April 23rd in Norfolk. If any board member wishes to attend this conference, would you please raise your hand? All right, I see Mr. Colon and Ms. Huddle would like to attend, and I would need board approval.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved by Mr. Lamonia. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Swigert. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We will now move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's hard to believe March is almost here, and we have several upcoming celebrations for the month of March. March is Women's History Month. It's Fine and Performing Arts Month. It's the VSBA Equity and Education Month, and it's also National Reading Month. So I do know that many of you are going to be getting invitations to read in schools, and I hope that you will take that opportunity. Now on to the spotlight. Thank you for another opportunity to shine the spotlight on some of the great things that have been happening in our schools. The month of February is just flying by, and I'm excited to share some of the exciting initiatives that are taking place as we get closer to springtime, even though it didn't feel like it this morning. Throughout the month of February, our schools celebrated Black History Month in a variety of engaging and creative ways. From musical performances to artistic displays, students and staff dedicated significant time and effort to honoring Black history through meaningful and unique activities. In addition, Amplified, the Chesapeake Public Schools podcast, recently featured Dr. Ella Ward, former school board member and current Chesapeake City Council member, who discussed the historic Cornland School and its enduring legacy. The episode also highlighted Portlock Primary Principal Wade Sloan, who shared how his students honor Black History Month in meaningful and impactful ways. Thank you to our students and staff, schools, and community members who helped to make these celebrations memorable. On February 11th, we celebrated Crossing Guard Appreciation Day across the district as a way to recognize the work of crossing guards that keep our students and communities safe. Schools across the district celebrated their favorite crossing guards by showing them the love and appreciation they deserve. Additionally, we were proud to recognize Greenbrier Intermediate Crossing Guard, Mr. Compton, as the Chesapeake Public Schools Crossing Guard of the Year. Thank you to Mr. Compton and to all of our crossing guards for all the hard work you do to ensure the safety of our students and our communities. Other important members of our community were also recognized recently. On February 13th, we celebrated School Safety Appreciation Day. Our school resource deputies, school resource officers, and school security officers are invaluable members of our team and community and play a vital role in ensuring that our students show up to school feeling safe and secure. Thank you to all of our security personnel for all of their hard work and dedication. We appreciate all of you. Some of our district's most creative minds recently competed in the citywide VEX IQ Robotics Tournament. Deep Creek Middle School hosted their 5th annual competition, which saw teams from across the area compete and showcase their innovation, teamwork, and engineering skills. Hugo Owens Middle School and Deep Creek Middle School both had teams punch their tickets to the state championships, and Deep Creek Elementary entry won the Sportsmanship Award. I am proud of our talented innovators, and I can't wait to see how great our representatives do at the state competition in March. One of our teachers at Great Bridge Middle School flexed her own creativity recently with a unique and memorable lesson. Our 6th grade math teacher, Mrs. Goulet, had students study mathematical concepts with a sweet twist. Using gummy worms and other treats, the students had to analyze their own gummy salads to calculate the fractions and proportions of different candies. It's always great when a math lesson is one that can be applied to real-life examples, but it's even better when you get to eat your assignment when it's done. Thank you to Ms. Goulet for creating a memorable lesson for our students, and I hope the sugar rush wasn't too hard to manage. Finally, on February 17th, our elementary students and staff celebrated the 100th day of school, and if you don't know, the 100th day of school is a big deal in elementary. It was exciting to see the celebrations take place across the district, which included themed spirit days, special lessons, and creative activities, all centered around the number 100. It's an important milestone for our students and staff each year, and we love to see them celebrate becoming 100 days smarter. Our communications team celebrated the 100th day by asking kindergartners what they would buy if they had $100. Take a look.
With $100, I would buy a Lamborghini. I would buy makeup. If I had $100, I would buy a unicorn. Pizza with pepperoni and cheese. If I had $100, I would buy my mom something. A Barbie house. I would buy a Ferrari. And then I'll get a skirt and a dress.
If you had $100, what would you buy?
Madam Chair, this completes my spotlight for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton. I love to see the children dressed up as older people. You almost look like Mr. Lamonia. You did great. Last on our agenda this evening is board member items. Does any board member have items to bring before the group? Mr. McCormick, no surprise there.
Man, I'm going to be talkative tonight. I'm going to springboard from the kindergartners, what would they do with $100? I have a daughter in kindergarten, and she came home that day very disappointed that didn't mean summer was starting, and she had to go back to school the next day. She thought that marked the end of the school year, and it was summer, so perspectives of a kindergartner is very, very fun to watch.
Dr. Quillen.
I just want to say one last time, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone, thank you for the goodies this month. And it was much appreciated. And also thanks to all the students and adults who were part of putting the baskets together and crafting all of these goodies. It was really cool to see all of it.
Yep, to Dr. Quillen's point, I know we showed you the bowl and we showed you the cool welding thing that they made for us, the apple, but the Chittum PTA also provided us these bears. I don't know if I'll get any because of my 11-year-old, and Mr. Lamonia already ate his Twix bars. But we loved our baskets, we love our gifts. Thank you so much. We feel very appreciated and loved. And I don't think there's any more board member comments, so we'll call this meeting adjourned.